not fake, never been fraud. Been great, still a little flawed. Always need sign when they call. Order up a drink while I'm sitting at the bar. Like, I need a strong tail, Nico make two. Honey Jack with a little bit of juice. CYA throwing up the dose. I'm all in. I try to get some peace, that's all I need. I try to get some peace, that's all I need. My phone right back on DND. Lately my phone on DND.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl T.
And it's Pretty Timmy, raising from the bed, not from the dead, because I had the cootie coops and it had me in the headlock. So I'm back.
And now he's passed a little bit on to me, but I'm not down knocked down in the bed like he was. So I just got the sniffles. I'm fine.
And I just want to say, if you watching this, that nasty individual that sat across from me when we had that layover, and you watch your wife coop, and after she passed out in front of me, then you was like, oh, I think my wife might have the flu. If I see y'all again, I'm gonna put these paws on you.
You should have had your mask on anyway.
Paws on you and put this good foot, not this left leg, because I got a bad knee, but I'm put this good foot in your wheelchair seat. And they're gonna be like, why that handicapped man riding all upside? Because he's gonna have a speaker up his ass in his wheelchair. How about that?
Look,
nasty. Put a mask on.
Look,
don't be getting other people sick.
She had to get home. Maybe they didn't have the
all them damn masks at the airport. They give you masks at the gate. Okay. Nasty.
We done hear about your sickness now. You good? Are you good now?
I'm still sick. I got a headache right now.
Anyway, what's up, everybody? Thank you for being here to Drinks and Deliberation. I'm not drinking anything. I had a little drink earlier today. You ain't see me because I was upstairs. I had a little drink earlier. So my only drink I'm going to be drinking now is water.
I'm drinking.
What are you drinking?
Juice, and more juice.
Well, we're going to find out what the rest of our guests are drinking, if they're drinking. But regardless of if anyone's drinking or not, tonight's topic, we're going to be discussing diversity, equity, and inclusion, what DEI is, what the federal government has done, and then also get everyone's on the panel's thoughts in reference to it, in addition to seeing how some people actually felt whether DEI was even beneficial at all. So with that, I'm going to bring my guests to the stage before we welcome those who have came into the house. So here we got House of X in the building. What's up, Watson and Leo? How's everything going?
Hey guys.
Hola.
Some of these guys.
Benny with the key.
Yeah.
Benny with the key. You got to put that on the shirt. All right, we now have Alaya with Love and Live Show.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? What? Nice to be here.
All right, and we got Ronette with Jemiah Divine Design Salon. How
hey,
you doing?
everybody.
I got my money.
Hey.
Owe you money. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here this evening. I figured this was it seems to be a hot topic as of right now, and some people have their own views on it. I've seen all types of videos with, some people are all for it, some are all against it, some are sort of like, well, if we can have this piece and that piece, and then some are just saying it's a bigger picture than what everybody is letting us on to believe. But let's go ahead and welcome those that are in the chat. So we got YOLO is in the building, House of X as well. How you doing, YOLO? How's it going?
What up, fam? What up?
Everything's going good. Everybody been rolling on the YouTube today. I've been playing catch up myself, playing in the background, trying to get my head out of this water. Let me see here. Glad to see you are feeling better, Timmy.
Yeah, I rose from the bed, not from the dead. So I'm just letting you know, I rose from the bed, not from the dead.
Okay, all right. Yellow said, hey, House of X. We got Yellow saying she is flying out tomorrow. Yellow, you told me where you were going. You ain't got to tell me where you're going, but can you at least tell me what side of the water, what side of the pond are you going to be on this time? Because I'm trying to be like you right about now. Let me see. Yellow said water now. I had some Makers 46 earlier. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. I have a mixture. We have like these some companies come where they already have the old fashions or the Manhattans already mixed. So I just poured a little bit in the glass a little earlier today. We got Cruz Bolero in the house. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. How's it going? How's it going? Cruz Bolero also says House of X. How are you doing? And House of X says Cruz. How are you doing? All right. All righty now. Let's go on and get it and setting the bar straight. So diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hold on one second. Where is it? So we'll start off with me just reading a little snippet about, what is DEI in simple terms, right? Just in simple terms. So basically, it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's the set of policies and practices that aim to create a welcoming and supportive environment for people of all backgrounds. Diversity basically states the variety of differences among people, including race, gender, age, disability, and more. Equity stands for the fair distribution of resources and opportunities so that everyone has what they need to succeed. Inclusion, the intentional effort to ensure that everyone feels welcome and valued and has a sense of belonging. So basically, DEI is based on the idea that a diverse workforce is more successful. It's also important for creating a more just society. DEIs and organizations say that DEI initiatives can help create a more respectful and productive workplace, can help mitigate risks associated with discrimination and inequity, and can help ensure that everyone has a fair shot at jobs regardless of their background. And in the society, can help create a more just society by ensuring that everyone has the support and resources they need to be successful. So basically, that's really what DEI pretty much represents. And before we go in and to see what you all's thoughts have been about this, I'm going to play a video from Washington just in reference to that.
Introduced into the record from the Heritage Foundation that is supporting this bill because of misguided efforts to essentially stoke segregation, division, and create a victim oppressor narrative, essentially, is what this letter of support says. But what is particularly peculiar about this massive bill that's been introduced, and I want to note that the co-sponsor of this bill, or this primary sponsor of this bill in the Senate, is Mr. J.D. Vance, our vice president-elect, is it literally, as the title says, is about dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. It revokes executive orders. It amends the Civil Rights Act, and it amends other parts of the federal code that protect our federal employees. And then it has this peculiar section that the ranking member talked about, which is actually essentially creating lists of federal employees and contractors that would never be eligible to work for the federal government again. Now, we have a word for that in common parlance. We call it blacklisting. And blacklisting comes from the 1950s when here in this House of Representatives, there was a Committee on Un-American Affairs that was convened under Joe McCarthy. The purpose of that was to purge the federal government and to accuse federal employees and blacklist them from future federal employment. So I'd like to say welcome to the new House Committee on Un-American Affairs and to the new McCarthyism, because we have arrived here today with this bill. So let's talk about what exactly is trying to be accomplished by this bill and by the upcoming administration, which the Vice President-elect is participating in here. Now, okay, let's take the argument to its logical extension that this is really about making sure that we have qualified individuals inside the federal government. So my question is then, why is the president-elect choosing absolutely unqualified cabinet secretaries to be at the head of every single agencies? We've got now a worldwide wrestling executive who's going to run education. We've got a sexual predator who was about to have a bipartisan report released by the House of Representatives to be our AG. We've got a Fox News commentator who's going to run the military for us. So if my colleagues across the aisle want to talk about qualifications, they want to talk about efficiency, they want to talk about the federal workforce, then let's talk about it, because you're talking about putting into place leadership in these federal agencies who are absolutely unqualified, who are dangerous, and know nothing about the agencies that they're about to be appointed to lead. So this is not about qualifications. This is not about having a qualified federal workforce. This is about laying the ground for the purge that they plan on January 20th and in the days afterwards. And we know that because the very organization for whom the chairman just submitted this letter of support is the Heritage Foundation, who wrote Project 2025, which gave us the blueprint for the purge itself and what they are planning inside every single one of these agencies. So we need to be clear-eyed about what this actually is and about what is trying to be accomplished and why 4 weeks before we're about to adjourn for the holidays, the Republicans are bringing this bill to a markup without an actual hearing. This is modern McCarthyism. They are preparing for a purge. They are going after members of the federal government who are advancing because they are people of color, women, LGBTQ+, other members of our community who have been excluded systematically from participating in federal service and leadership positions, and then they're going to put their own unqualified loyalists in there to take out our federal workforce. That is what this bill is about. It's about creating a statutory framework to do that, and we're going to fight it every step of the way. With that.
All right. So, as you heard from her, looking at the DEI ban that has now taken place, it's the bigger picture. Some people think it's just about, just blacks. No, it's just about anybody that has any form of disadvantage within this country, basically. Whether that means you're a minority, whether that means you're a female, whether that means you're a part of the LGBTQA+ community, whether that means you're disabled, all of those things. And people are just looking at it only in one area. They're thinking, oh, I'm not going to get selected to go to Harvard University, or, oh, I'm not going to be selected for that job that I want. It's a much bigger picture. When they start to overturn certain things of the Constitution, it opens it up for them to amend other things within the Constitution, which basically goes against our human rights of the reason why it was set there. So with that said, what do you feel? Well, first, let me just say this. What are your thoughts about the banning of these DEI initiatives? And we'll start off with Elia.
Okay, starting off, I feel, even with a younger point of view, I feel as all this stuff is happening, I think one reason I can say, and I can put in place for a reason for something like DEI is the moment that you have more people, a diverse amount of people, different skin colors, different backgrounds in an area, that can also uplift young, upcoming people who are living and coming from that same background. For example, we have something like, let's say, the medical field. You only see one, if you only see one race or only, one gender, whatever it may be in that field, being opposed to that is going to be like uncomfortable to kind of strive towards that. You're going to be like, I'm coming in an area where there's not anybody else around me, and it's gonna discourage you from reaching that, even if that's a motivation that you want to have. So I think when we have people of diverse backgrounds in these different places, in these different work environments, it also employs the idea of aspiring towards that, for whatever race, whatever gender it may be.
Okay. Ronette?
To be totally honest, I had to look it up and see what DEI was, because honestly, I know it's a lot going on with, I'll just say, the new administrator. And honestly, I don't look at it on purpose. I don't pay attention to a lot of it. I do get the information, but I don't look at it personally. I'll just say that. So, but just even listening to the video, with the lady, just like he said, when it comes to a lot of different things, just to kind of put it simple, variety is better, because then it start, when it comes to some things like with like certain jobs, like you said, with different people in different places, it's like, if you don't have diversity and you just have everything the same, to me, I look at it to where now, which basically how it is with AI, we're robots. Everyone is just uniform together, and it's, if you don't meet this particular criteria, then you're not either going to be chosen, or you're not the one for the job, or whatever it is. And even for me, speaking for my daughter, who is, has her disabilities, that would be a disadvantage to her when she's getting older and trying to, do things. She may not have certain abilities, but at the same time, she may be strong in other abilities. But the fact that she's lacking in this particular thing, then she may be, looked over, not chosen, discriminated against because of that. And that'll
Right.
make it,
Agreed.
harder for her.
Right. Agreed. Waston, Leo?
No, you need diversity because everybody doesn't speak multiple languages. So that's one of the reasons you need that. But go ahead, Tom.
I would per se just say that it's going to take the world back into discrimination, and it's going to put us back into where a lot of folks are going to start to attack each other. And especially, I guess I would say in our community, it's not going to be much.
What community is that?
Welcoming for folks. When it comes to jobs, it's going to be a lot of discrimination against that community, where instead of hiring the person, they're going to start looking at, what gender or who you sleep with or whatever, when that shouldn't really matter.
I don't think they care who you sleep with, but I get what you're saying.
And then even in the area where we live in a predominantly Latino area.
Okay, shout out to all the Latinos.
So majority of the stores
speak Spanish. We don't be speaking no Spanish, okay?
So this is just gonna make it worse, because you work.
It ain't gonna be where you work. Let me tell you what you do. You see this platform we here? It's called YouTube. Everybody start a business out of your damn self. That's what you do.
So
I'm on YouTube, make us switch. Stop playing with us.
It's gonna make it worse, because if you don't speak a bilingual language, and then you live in an area where it's nothing but Latino, you feel uncomfortable.
Not me. I'm gonna learn that language. Okay. I got to say, hold on, 3 different ways. Honey, you gonna understand what I said?
So I think, that was making the community feel like people that feel that they're not a part, they're gonna feel that they're basically separated.
Okay, is we trying to unite or not? That's what the people want to know. Why all this discrimination? Okay.
Well, I'm a circle back around to each point that each of you said after I bring it over to TJ and let him say his
All
part.
right, I'm gonna give it to y'all straight. Like when I predicted back years ago before Trump even became president, and I told people who didn't see something that I saw something. I said the world was looking for change, and the world started looking for change. They look in a direction that other people normally wouldn't see it coming, and people laughed at me. Oh man, you crazy, man! Ain't nobody embracing that food and this, that, and the other. I said, look, he's in all the videos. He's in all the rap videos. He's in every place that people wouldn't expect him to be. He was on wrestling. He was everywhere you expect him to be. Now, here we go again. Another strategy is being played. You were 30 years in the military kick in, and that training goes in there. So you watch, you see what people don't want you to see. Diversity, this is just what they want you to see. It's bigger than what's going on. Tanya touched base on it. They trying to tear down one block while they got you looking in one direction. It's really something else. That Roe versus Wade and the stacking of the Supreme Court justices was all just part of a ploy in a coup. It's always a coup. What I'm telling you what's going on, and the reason why they attacking diversity, because you got certain states that are in power that have been running the United States, 13 states, for the longest, and people ain't even noticed it. And those states want whites only schools, white only this, whites only that, whites only this, and that's what's coming. And they're going to put themselves in power. They're going to put their people in power. And that's why, in order to do that, they got to get diversity out of the way. And in the process, they're going to eliminate handicap, people to speak different languages, women, especially Black women. They're going to eliminate a whole lot of people that come together that make this country a whole. What makes this country a melting pot is the diversity of everybody. That's what built this country. But you got 13 states that think they are superior and think they did it by themselves. And they have stacked the deck, and they done found them a champion, and they done found them another champion, and now they're going to execute a plan that they've been having in wait for years. Watch what it takes.
Well, I see we have an additional member that has just joined us. Welcome in, Stacy. How you doing
What up,
this
fam?
evening?
What up, fam?
Hey, Stacy.
I'm doing all right. Sorry I'm late.
It's fine. We're talking about DEI tonight. And you came in just in time because TJ just gave his spiel on what his thoughts were in reference to the removal of the DEI initiative. So everything in relations to that, the government has did away with that. What are your thoughts about it? Watson and Leo spoke on it from an LGBTQ as well as diversity in language. Rynette spoke on it in reference to disability. Alaya spoke on it in reference to the workforce and being able to see those that look like you in certain roles. And TJ talked about it from a more overview, bigger vision in terms of what the purpose of dismantling the DEI. What has been? Have you been involved or even thought about it? What are your thoughts on the DEI, them dismantling the DEI initiative?
Well, I have been thinking about it because I've got a little one who's in a field. She's studying computer engineering, and there are not many people that look like us that are in that field right now. So I'm concerned that with the dismantling of DEI, that it's going to make it even harder for her to get a job when she leaves college.
And Okay. So yeah, so you're looking at it from opportunities perspective.
Correct.
You know, from my view on things are, you know, to be honest with you, we've had DEI, right, for a while, and organizations will put these things in place. But does it really change the views of those individuals, right? The answer is no. If you don't like it, if you're, and this isn't 100% of people saying that if they're not a minority that they're racist, right? But the thing is with DEI, I just believe that sometimes some of the initiatives and how they were carried out at some, I'm talking about workforce organizations specifically, they're carried out as if you're going to take someone who has been raised or currently thinks a certain way, and they're like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or probably even 60s, and think that a couple of classes are going to make them wake up one day and go, "Oh, I like you now." It doesn't go that way, right? So thinking that they're going to change their mind, it doesn't make sense. Which is why some people say that the DEI initiatives at work do not work, or they don't really help, because it's the mindset of the individual, it's their culture of why they believe certain things anyway, right? However, when you take out the DEI, when you dismantle it from a society perspective, now you're allowing individuals, organizations, communities to not look outside of their own communities when they're looking at building things. So, for instance, just like Wanston and Leo was stating about, you know, you get someone who speaks Spanish. So if they may go somewhere, and if they can't find a place where someone can at least try and speak Spanish, because they're only going to learn English but so much, right? Then chances are they're going to segregate themselves, right? They're going to gravitate to an area that only Spanish speaking people, you know, do. You also have certain communities that need healthcare from certain physicians or certain nurses within the healthcare who also speak their language. And if they aren't able to understand what's going on from a health perspective, then they leave that healthcare area and then they go someplace else because they need someone that where they can understand what they can interpret. What is it you're trying to tell me about my body? What is going on? Because that's just where they feel comfortable. And then you have individuals who may say, on the other side of DEI, who is against it, will say, well, this is the reason why we don't need it. Don't you just want to be around people who you're comfortable with? Don't you want to be around, you know, people that look like you, so you don't have to worry about feeling awkward, or you don't have to worry about feeling different and so forth? So you get the arguments on both sides, right?
Let me interject. And what people forget, like, so now there is no more celebrating Black History Month on government installations, no more celebrating Women Month on government installations. There are no more celebrating Indian Heritage Month on government installations. But what people forget is the United States of America is built off a melting pot. Nobody here is the original people, but the indigenous people that was the Indians are the only people that are native to this land. Everybody else are foreign. So how could we all of a sudden say now that we, not saying us, we, I'm using it as a pronoun, we did this. So we did this, and we don't want to give anybody else credit for anything. We won't even take down the accomplishments that the Tuskegee Airmen did, and they had a perfect, non-blemished record in World War II, never shot down, and protected 129 planes from being shot down, and made sure they had a significant turn in the war. And they're in the history books. And we want to take that away, and we don't want people to know about the Tuskegee Airmen anymore because They did something that's never been done before and it's never been accomplished.
Well, in addition to that, they also don't want to show any of the negatives that have taken place historically too, right? So with dismantling all of this, you can't use certain words anymore. You can't say certain things. You can't put certain words in certain contracts or certain programs that you have, especially if it's government funded. And the only reason why I'm speaking to that, and the reason why it's government funded is because now this doesn't really impact directly the commercial, the non-governmental type organizations and companies. Because they run their own policies and make their own rules because they make their own money. They're not being given money. But if you do receive money from the government in any kind of way, it does impact. So now you got universities who got research projects on hold because those are government funding, right? You have grants and stuff that was supposed to be provided that they put on hold in reference to that. And there's going to be more things. But in reference to that, let me play this one video, and then I want us to get into our real conversation in reference to. I'm going to check the chat now. Oh yeah, Yolo said that's right, that pre-cruise before Lush. Yolo said it's 50-50. Although Black people in general rarely benefit, it prevents others from running amok. That is true. Someone has an echo. Okay. Does anybody else hear an echo?
I heard one at one time.
At one, okay. Let me know if you
can you hear it when I speak?
No.
No, there's an echo.
I hear it a little bit.
You hear echo with who?
When Stacy spoke, I heard it just a
with
little
Stacy?
bit.
Oh, Stacy, do you have it on in two places?
I'm going to check right now.
Okay. Because if you have it like two windows open on your laptop or something, it's probably playing it from the other one as well. Yellow said it's a catch-22.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's still an echo on. I'm hearing echo.
I don't hear an echo.
Hit Watson and Leo. See what they got.
No, Watson and them is on mute. That's not them. Right now, they keep theirs on mute. Hola. Do y'all hear an echo from me?
No, not from you.
Okay, Stacy, you talk.
Do you hear it again?
No, I don't hear it from Stacy.
I heard the echo from Stacy.
I hear the echo. I hear the echo. It might be on y'all.
I hear echo from all of us.
Yeah, every time we speak, there's an echo.
Huh.
Well,
it's just y'all two that hear the echo.
It's Tanya. What it is when we're speaking and your mic is on, we can hear it from your TV. That's why. That's all.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
What about now?
Remember, you was gonna put the earpiece on. That way, it's in your ear. But because we're hearing the volume from your TV, then that's why.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
I mean, it's not horrible,
that's why I was gonna put it on, and y'all told me I ain't need it.
Oh, well, maybe you should just mute the television.
I can mute the TV, but then I'm not gonna be able to hear you through the laptop.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Give me 1 second.
I mean, it's not bad. We were still hearing everyone speak, so.
Fly like an eagle.
Is it?
Oh.
Miss Mary over here just pressing buttons. She don't even know what she's doing.
As usual. That's better now. We can hear. There's no more feedback.
Mary,
yeah, no echo.
Yeah.
You are loud.
Okay.
All up in the ear. Bring it down a notch.
What happened?
You loud, girl.
Okay, I ain't do nothing. Okay. All right. So let me see who else is in the chat. Okay, they were saying that Love and Live had an echo. This was a little earlier. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. Everybody saying hello to Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
All right, and Yellow said misdirection. Yeah. Oh, Yellow want to know what you munching on right now. She always snacking. Oh, sunflower seeds. You ain't learned yet? You ain't learned yet?
I learned what?
For the last time you was eating all them sunflower seeds and you swole the hell up? You ain't learned yet? It's all right.
I'm not eating as many.
So Dark Theme said the purpose of this initiative was to help combat systemic racism. The Republican Party, with its Project 2025 agenda, is to roll back all civil rights initiatives that were established in the 60s. Yep. All exactly.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. They want to make it great again. They want to erase our history, whitewash the horrible, violent history of this country. This is a well thought out strategy, very much. And it took some years to do.
And only because some coaches all of a sudden now listening to too much Sexy Red and too much all this other stuff, they distracted. So let's get them now while they distracted, because our young minds is where them fans at and all this other stuff, they distracted. But by the time we see what's going on, it's gonna be too deep and rooted too deep to uproot it. It's gonna be like a bad weed in the flower bed. It'll be wrapped all around. It's gonna take 30 years to undo. If it can be
You're right
undone.
about that, TJ. You're right. But I was saying all this stuff I'm hearing about the chicken and bird flu and all these expensive eggs and stuff. I said no, something else going on. They're trying to distract us with all that other stuff unnecessary.
That's what it is. And then let me tell you that the biggest caveat of what's going on. Let me give you a stimulus check, and now you love me. Now I'm your Jesus. Oh, he gave me money. The other guy didn't never do nothing for me. He ain't give you no money. He didn't give you nothing. He just raised your taxes, and you didn't even see it.
Sure enough.
You idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And he just raised taxes on your gas. He loved me. He gave us
Medicaid today.
The other guy didn't give us nothing.
He stopped Medicaid today.
See? Keep on listening to Sexy Red and all that other stuff.
Sure
you know,
did.
where them fans at? You be like, where them dollars at pretty soon?
Yellow says she crunches loud too. Yellow said history is history. It's what shapes us. Exactly. But that's the thing. Because see, let me tell you something. The best power you can have is knowing where you come from. If you thought all your life that you came from nothing, then you really don't really own who you are. But if someone told you that you came from a king and queens and that you came from something great, you start to think a little different about yourself. You start to believe you can do certain things. And when you believe certain things, you develop this confidence, which will get you going to whatever it is you want to do. And that's the part that they don't want everybody to have that ability.
You may go ahead and preach, girl.
I'm not just talking about one race. I'm just talking about people who are so used to being on top and having the power. They don't want anyone else to have that power. Right. And the less rights you have and the less ability or opportunities that you have, the less authority you have. Because one thing I can say, and I don't know, I might get canceled for this, but one thing I can say,
don't say that again.
When I look at, I'm talking about like Jay-Z. Jay-Z his whole thing is about ownership of business, ownership and position. Got all this other mess going on, and what I've identified with him is that he has strategically placed himself in powerful positions where you can make a difference. See, there's a difference. You can have a bunch of money, but that don't mean you have power.
Facts.
Money don't always equate to power if you don't know how to use that money. Okay. So the thing is, if you put yourself in a position where you have the power to do certain things, then you can get things done. Then you can make changes and say, no one can touch me. But the problem is, a lot of us who don't have those opportunities and those who don't have that type of knowledge or that exposure, you don't actually have the know-with-all to know how to get into those positions or know which positions they get into in order to get that power. And that's the key, is that no one wants everyone to know that secret, because then everyone will strive for it, and then no one would necessarily have power, because everyone will have power, right? You can only have power if there has to be some haves and have-nots at the end of the day.
That's called slave mentality. If I keep you up under me, then I'm the master. And as long as I own everything and know everything, then you will forever be the slave. But the thing about it is, we can all be masters. See, that's the wrong teaching. And there's room for everybody at the top. But the problem is, all our great leaders and all our heroes are gone. We ain't got no heroes no more. We ain't got nobody with money or position that want to step up and try to lead the way. The only people that step up and try to lead the way is Kanye, and they want to call him half crazy. But Kanye said some great stuff, but people didn't hear him though. But what he said caused him to step down from being a billionaire. But then nobody come up to defend what he said. And all he said was, we were descendants from Black Hebrews. And that's true, that we are. Look it up in the Bible. He didn't lie, but people didn't like the fact that he said it. Nick Cannon said the same thing. They took him off Wild 'N Out. And I'm like, what did he say? What did he say? People don't like the fact for us to be connected to a higher power. They want to make Egypt the greatest city that were ever built, but they don't want to let you know about Kush. They don't want to let you know that Egypt stole all their knowledge. There was 2 other major cities back in BC before Egypt came into power. See, the Bible only goes back to Rome and Egypt. They only take you back so far. But there was bigger and major cities out there. But see, the lack of knowledge that they give you is what keeps some people in power. That's why they want to constantly portray Cleopatra as Elizabeth Taylor. And we believe that.
Right.
And that's it. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic and give y'all a history lesson, because some things we have to look up for ourselves.
I believe that
Things said absolutely right to me, and they distract from certain social media platforms. The disinformation is cleverly woven into these platforms. And before I play this other video for us to comment on, think about it. Now, and I was just thinking about this other day, and please speak up if you feel that you agree with it. I just find it hard to believe that America has a person in place that is a distraction on itself.
Why?
Like, you can't be that stupid. You can't be that dumb and be in that position and getting all of this social media publicity, right? Everyone's looking at, what is he saying? What is he going to say tomorrow? What is Elon Musk doing? And all of this type of stuff, right? Then you got Elon Musk bringing his kids in the White House and talking crap and all this type. So my thing is, that's a distraction too. Because to me, I'm just like, this feel like I'm in a dream. Like, this does not make sense to me. But what it is, see, just like people, they focus on the presidential election.
Correct.
But where people really need to come out to vote for is those senators, congressmen, and House of Representatives, because that's where the laws and stuff
That's the power
are done.
base.
Okay,
That's the base.
that is the foundation of anything happening. If it gets cut at the neck with the House of Representatives and the Senate, it never makes it to the president. The president is just a figurehead. And so everybody's focusing on the president and what he got going on with the Tesla dude, that no one's looking at, election season. Does anybody on here know when we're supposed to vote for the House of Representatives and the Senate? Like when we vote for all those people?
The House of Representatives.
It doesn't get publicized, does it?
And the Senate.
You see what I mean? It doesn't get publicized. Now you see people out there with the signs and be like, an election is coming.
It get put out there, but it don't get put out there until it's come around the same time every year. But the thing about it is they don't push it like they normally push it because it's like poof, it sneak up on me. Just like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the district is carved out to keep her in that spot. So her constituents is people that look like her, think like her, and want her to stay right there. That's why they've been saying, and people ain't paying attention, where election lines are drawn. So they going in and they draw an election line to keep her right there. If people think like you think, and they, for instance, if I want to be a representative and they draw a line around my house, they got a representative, I'll stay up there in the White House because can't nobody vote me out of that will be Tanya Halea. And that's how they do it. That's how they control what goes on in the White House. They draw these districts that they can keep somebody up there that's going to vote the way they want to vote because they think the way they think. And like I tell people all the time, that's what's going on now. That's why you don't see nobody saying nothing. But you got all these people who was hollering, Trump, Trump, Trump. Now they hollering, what? I didn't know he was going to do that. Why he ain't doing it? Trump don't do that. Hey, this is what you asked for. You can't make deals with the devil, baby. It is what it is. But the thing about it is, this is what I tell people. Everybody need to wake up. We've been living in a dream. The bubble done popped. Now you're going to have to get your thinking cap up. Now you're going to have to get your, I got to figure it out on. Because if not, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
See,
all right.
See, Tanya and
go ahead. I can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wonston.
Okay, so I like the fact when TJ said the world is blind. Yes, they are, because we're still stuck in the part where men, women, or society do not want a woman in power. When Hillary tried it, and then Camilla tried it. If it comes out to where you stop looking at the image of the person and the knowledge that the person is giving for the better of the people, then maybe people won't cry now. Because yes, she was a woman, but then we probably won't be in such a deficit that we are now if she was elected. But it could have been anybody else, another woman, another person. They were looking at the fact if they elect Trump, he's going to give us money. They wasn't looking that he was going to basically
cause havoc.
Yeah. So they just saw the dollar sign. They didn't think about,
which makes no sense because him giving out checks don't make no sense at this point because everything is going up.
Yeah, they didn't.
So what did we really gain? We didn't gain anything.
They didn't think about everything that he was gonna do. Go in there and cause havoc. Go in there and abolish different laws and all this different type of stuff. So when you think about a woman running against a man, we're still in the dark ages where women cannot fill that seat of power. So it's society to blame because Hillary tried, Camilla tried, and now it's like you're crying, but you caused this on yourself because she was the perfect fit.
Well, then Beyonce up there since she got all the answers.
You know, so it's yes, he's gonna whatever money he's supposed to be giving the world, but we're still gonna cry. It's gonna be like we're back in COVID because I had this conversation with somebody else.
Not back
We're
in
going
COVID.
back in COVID where there's going to be riots. There's going to be people who don't want to shop anymore because you can't afford anything.
And this is where I'm gonna stay right in my good old house.
So if food is more expensive than it is, then you're raising the prices on things that you have to buy out of China because most of the stuff comes in from China.
Okay, talk about it.
Then you're eliminating taxes. So which means it's like, okay, you're doing all of this, then eliminating stuff from insurance. Okay, so then like it's a lot. And then now you want to pay attention, but what happened when the election was around and you did not pay attention? You didn't.
He blinded everybody with the coin.
You didn't hear the foolishness that he was saying when post-election was around. But you're paying attention and he's already in the chair?
Girl. Because he ain't let you know his plan until we got in the chair.
That don't make no sense.
No sense.
Why pay attention now? But when post-election was around, you wasn't paying attention.
Is you paying attention or not? That's what they want to know.
So if society, and it's not black men, it's not the regular men, it's basically the redneck people who are stuck where, and Tanya, we can kiki because we know there are some people that are stuck where in that mindset, I don't want a woman to have a say, they must shut up, sit down, and nod yes. So some societies where there are redneck people and different religions where the woman don't have a say. Because I don't know if you had heard.
Just hit me, girl. What the hell?
I don't know if you had heard the conversation the day after the election. The day
I
after
am not to be abused. We are in my birthday.
The day after the election, we was walking in the park, and I overheard somebody saying to another person, there was a black guy and a Latino guy, and he said to the Latino guy, some people don't want a woman in charge. And I said, what? I said,
when it comes to the women in charge, a lot of time, because of the other cultures, America, even if they wanted to allow a woman to be in charge, it would put them in a weak position with the other countries because they don't believe a woman should be in charge. So how they do business, how they do deals, things that they're willing to do, they wouldn't take America seriously if a woman was in that seat. At the end of the day, that's just what it was. Go ahead, Stacey.
I have a very unique perspective on that. I tell you, Ronette all the time, she laughs at me. I'm an immigrant. I'm a citizen, yes, but I was born and raised in Jamaica before I moved here. And after the election, I talked to my husband and I told him, I said, when you look at the numbers of Black people who voted for Kamala, they need to dig into the actual numbers of Black men who voted for Kamala. Because I believe as an immigrant, right, there are many people that come to this country, like in my country in Jamaica, like they don't really want women in power. Just like many countries in Africa, Latinos, many of those countries, they don't want to see women in charge. So I don't think it's just white people, right? Because if you look at me, unless I tell you or you hear my accent, you don't know that I'm an immigrant, right? So that number, that percentage of 78% of Black men who voted, right, for Kamala, they need to still dig into that number that didn't vote for her. And you will find, I believe you'll find, that many of those Black men who voted for Trump are immigrants. And many of those, they're saying Latino women voted for Trump in higher numbers this time around, right? Or white women. Many immigrants voted for Trump because that's just how we're really conditioned in our country to not see women in power.
I'm gonna break his finger, y'all.
That part.
But that's true. That is true, Stacey.
Yeah, definitely true.
Let me go ahead and play this clip here. I gotta share my screen. Hold on one second.
chop it up because it's going to be a conversation. Because when we talk about DEI, let's just start here. We're gonna, stair step our way into this conversation here, and let's pop it off here for both of you ladies here. I'll go ahead and propose this question to you first, Claudia. Is DEI beneficial to Blacks?
Oh man, that's a complicated question. So I will answer it like this. 76% of chief diversity, equity, and inclusion officers are white. The most group of individuals that benefit from DEI initiatives are white women, the disabled, those in the LGBTQIA plus community, Hispanics, Asians, Black people are at the very bottom of the list of the beneficiaries of DEI initiatives. However, when DEI is done right and DEI is done well, and particularly through an anti-racism lens, one that specifically tries to target anti-Blackness, that is when DEI is beneficial to African Americans.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Claudia. Thank you very much for that. And just before I go ahead and ask any further questions, I want to go ahead and put that same question in the hands of my sister April here. Is DEI beneficial to Blacks?
I would say categorically no. And the reason why I would say that, first, let's just lay some groundwork. I'm a Christian, right? So I lead with a biblical worldview. So that means my arguments, whether I'm talking about something socially, politically, or culturally, I'm going to ground my arguments in the truth of God's word. So the idea that we need to be looking at things from an anti-racism lens, the issue with is DEI beneficial? We can look at the results and we can say no. I don't know how one can show partiality on the basis of ethnicity and do that right. It is sinful to make a judgment or determination on someone's ability to do a job well on the basis of some sort of existential reality that you can't control. Like this melanin that I was born with, I can't do anything to change it. However, I can, by the sweat of my brow, I can work hard. I can create products and services and provide value in the marketplace that if what I have to offer is good, even the sinful heart of man will not allow a barrier such as my ethnicity to cause them from doing something that's going to benefit them, i.e., make them money. So to broadly answer the question, do I think diversity, equity, and inclusion is beneficial for Black people? I would say no. In fact, if it was so beneficial, why is it a pejorative to be called a DEI hire? Like no one celebrates and say, hey, I'm a DEI hire. And everybody's like, woohoo! It's a put down. It's like, dang, you couldn't earn it. You don't have the ability to compete in the marketplace of ideas on the basis of what you bring to the table. The fact that our ethnicity is viewed as this handicap in 2025, when the world has displayed, despite all of the opposition and the oppression and the ethnic partiality that we've been the recipient of, the idea that we combat racism, i.e. ethnic partiality, with the reverse of it and flip it to level out the playing field cannot be substantiated from scripture. It's ungodly. It's unbiblical. The book of James speaks clearly about how we're not to make judgments based on a person's ethnic expression, or we didn't even get into a gender discussion. God shows no partiality. So why would a Christian engage in such an activity and then appeal to it as if it's good and righteous? I don't. As a Christian, I struggle in speaking in categories such as anti-racism. If racism or partiality is a sin, I know no solution for that other than you need to be made alive in Christ Jesus. You need redemption by the propitiation of your sin by the blood of Christ. I can't try to come up with some man-made solution for a heart problem. Government can't change your heart. And nor should you be demanding that people treat you a certain way. Like, find a way or make a way. Black people are incredibly industrious. We can compete based on our own efforts if we're willing to do like every other people group in this country does, is work hard and not be treated like pets to be pitied.
Whew.
Okay. So
drop the mic and next question.
Thoughts?
Thoughts.
Wow.
Claudia is, what's her name? April, the second one.
Yeah.
All the way wrapped up in her religion, and she can't see outside of the religion. Because if you look outside of the religion, even within the Christian faith itself, it's mostly ran by men. So even given her skills in the church, they're probably going to pick a man over her.
Right. And I didn't really agree when I listened to that. My mouth was just as open as the lady who was sitting next to her. You mean like in the other studio?
Yeah, her name, what, Claudia? Yeah.
My mouth was like open, like
are you serious?
Does she not realize that we have to be 5 times more qualified,
correct,
and overwork and do the job 10 times better in order for them to say, oh, this is a quality person.
Correct.
The whole thing is, yeah, you can go out there and compete, but what makes you think they're going to choose you? So she feels like, well, if you're bringing value and you're making the money, then they're not going to judge you. Well, see, and I did look at the half of the podcast of there, but I didn't see exactly where she was from. But I guarantee you she was probably from up north, because there's a lot more of the racism type stuff that happens below in the South than it does in the North. Not saying there wasn't any segregation up there, but the actual attitude and how they did certain things was very blatant, more prominent in the South than the North. So I don't know where she was from, but I just did not agree on the fact that, money is not going to make someone want you regardless. Yeah, they may say, oh, well, you're bringing some money. That's fine. But I guarantee you, they will not allow you to be over in control over that money if that is really what their focus is. Because at the end of the day, some of them may feel like naturally there are certain races and cultures that are inferior, or certain genders that are inferior to others, right? So it just baffled me, but I digress. Alaya, what's your take or your response to her clip?
Oh, okay. Well, I think ultimately, leading with faith, all that different stuff, very important. I mean, her world outlook and all that, it's a very important perspective. But I think ultimately what you have here is we are in a position where us as an individual, we can show love, we cannot discriminate, but others are not in that same position. So if you have two, I guess, worthy candidates, and the only difference is their skin color. If you're in a predominantly, let's say, less diverse field, the one that's going to be picked is obviously the one that looks like everybody else. And I think that's where conversations like DEI come into place, where, like I said, if you don't have people in the room, if you don't have women, different race, whatever, different backgrounds in it, and especially as America is standing as what we self-proclaim a mixing pot, and all these different cultures, it's been built off the back of all these different cultures. If you don't have them in multiple positions and only in a lower class, what do we have to really strive for? What do we have as these other races? So I just think that, again, ultimately comes down to, yes, of course, the whole idea is to love everyone, is to show that, to be indifferent towards everyone. But in practice, that's not what happens. People exercise what they personally believe. And, through that, they can do it even in a way that's unintentional, not even knowing that they have that side of discrimination inside themselves. So it's not, we're working with, it's not the idea that she was expressing is not the area or platform that we're working within.
Ronette? No comment? Or are you on mute? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I agree with what he said pretty much, and even when what you said, Tanya, about yes, because I'm a faith believer as well, but like she's saying, as far as if we was to work hard and do this, then why can't we basically get the same opportunities as everybody else, regardless of our skin color, because we are working extra hard? And like you said, Tanya, we got to work 5, 10, 30 times more than the other person, because they already have a judgment on us anyway at the end of the day. So to where it's like I've speak to different people, like for example my clients, to where some of them have said at times how they've done certain things and did work hard, did this extra thing, took this extra training, did this stuff, and then somebody came in that right out of high school, don't have no degree or anything, and now they're their boss, and they've been busting their tail trying to get in this particular position, and they're like, well, wait a minute, I did the training, I did this extra stuff you asked me to do, you told me what the qualifications were, and I did this and did that, and then this person just came in here, but because I don't know, that's a niece, that's a cousin, or the color of her skin, or whatever it is, at the end of the day, she gets this position, and it's like what I'm working hard for. I get a tap on the shoulder, talk about, well, maybe next time. So it's not saying that if the world was set up that way, then yeah, you work hard and then you're chosen. But with society, we're not set up that way. Unfortunately, we're just not. It's not saying that hard work won't pay off. It will pay off. It's just may not pay off where we want it to pay off. It may pay off where we need it to pay off, but not where we want to. But
Right.
even with this administrative, like I've been saying to a lot of people, it's not a race thing. It's not a race thing at all. It's a status. Remember, he's a businessman. It's a status. If you're not a certain status, that's when the problem comes in. It's not a race thing. Hence why people that are the same color he is are now upset with him, because they was taking it as a race thing and voting. And now it's, oh my goodness, wait a minute. We're lumped in with these minority people. We're lumped in with these other people. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't a skin thing, honey. It was a status thing. You don't make or do what he is. So that's why you might be suffering and struggling with the rest of us at the end of the day. But guess what? We used to struggling, boo-boo. To us, this is normal. We good. We got this. We creative. Right now, you the one, you struggling because this week all you got is 3,000 to spend instead of 5,000. Boo-boo, I've been stretching $20 for 60 days. What you talking about?
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Walston, I saw you put the TJ finger up.
Yeah, so my thing with her, she clearly forgot the part where the Lord said, lean not to your own understanding. And she clearly forgot the part where it says, watch as well as pray.
Is you praying or not?
Okay.
Because you can't sit there and be so biblical and so churchy not to know what's going on in the world and what's going on around you, to where it doesn't matter. Because you could be discriminated against in church. There's racism in church. There's something called church hurt. So the same thing that they do at the job, the same thing they do in the stores, they can do it in a church house.
Okay.
It don't matter. Somebody could not like what Tanya have on or what car she drives.
Oh, not what car she drives, bro.
And they can just, whatever. Or the color of her skin. Or whatever. And
Well, Tanya's not really black, right?
What happened?
She's not really black, bro.
What you say? What you mean?
So like the place that's supposed to be a place of refuge can also turn into the place of hell. So
I think we living in hell now, child.
So her saying that she don't really speak racism and she doesn't, all of that, that's a person that is too saved. Too saved and too Christian. Like how Medea say they too saved. That's a person that's too Christian.
Ooh, now she need to be
religiously stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, she need to be delivered again.
Yeah. So racism is still gonna be here no matter where you go. All of that.
Okay. Well, Dark Thing says America voted a criminal into the White House because they are fearful of their privilege diminishing. And unfortunately, a lot of us voted against their own interests. So, because there's two things I want to touch on. I want to ask a question because I want to make sure we end the night on a funny note. Because I think that it'll get a little more interesting, but we're also running out of time. So let me get through the comments before I ask this question. Yes, DEI has supported women more than any demographic. They want to knock women down. We command too much power. That is correct. I think that when women get into a place where they have more expectations. So if a woman is knowledgeable and she's educated enough to know when something don't look right, something doesn't sound right, and they're not just sitting there going, okay, whatever you say. Well, what is that, dear? What do you mean? What's an interest rate? What do you mean? Well, if you leave women uneducated, then that means there's less people to hold the people in power accountable, right? So, and I'm just gonna say that most of the time, women know how to execute a lot more better than men do. Women are just more detail oriented. We are. Don't look at me like that, Leo. Women, we're nurturers by nature, and we're always the ones thinking about mitigated risks. We're always the one thinking about, okay, because don't forget, we were here to be a helpmeet. So we are wired to think of, okay, you want to get us from A to B. Well, did you think about how we going to get to A to B? Did you think about when we can get to A to B? Do you know what it's going to take to get to A and B? Do we have enough resources to get to A and B? Do we have enough time to get to A and B? So I just want to put that out there just because she put I'm not trying to get into that discussion. Doc Thing says, remember, this is a patriarchal society with an abundance of misogyny. They just can't fathom the possibility of a woman president. That is correct. Those are Republican talking points. That is correct. I may deserve it, but no, I can't earn with good old boy mentality. Look, exactly, because we would be the last on the totem pole, man. We got 2 strikes against us, black and we're a woman. That's all I got to say. We wouldn't need initiatives like DEI if the playing field was truly fair. This woman is totally misinformed. Exactly, Dark Thing. Yellow said, right. Dark Thing said she was at a Trump rally holding a sign that said "Blacks for Trump," and she probably was. Hey, TJ, how you doing? Hello, everybody from the Carnival Panorama. Let me see what time it is. Why aren't you? Oh no, it's 3 hours behind. Yo, you probably just finished eating dinner. What are you about to go get some drinks? It's about that time, ain't it? Go to the Alchemy Bar or something. Thanks for being here. Rooted is here. Famous, how you doing? Hey, vent yours and panel and chat. I'm going through it right now, trying to get back into the workforce after being laid off in October. It's so much harder now to get a job, regardless of all of my experience. I totally get it. And that's why a lot of people are saying with a lot of these initiatives out, they may not be of the first pick. If that's just a better way of saying it. They're not going to be of the first pick. It's not a status thing for him, but his supporters is something altogether different, but they were bamboozled. You got that damn right. I'll bet real money that if she walks into a high-end department store, she'll find out just how equal she is to her white counterpart. Facts, dark thing. As security follows her around the store. Exactly. Oh, gosh. All right. House of X was saying check. IG inbox, send real. You talking to me or Famous Wanston?
No, I was talking to you because it will sum up tonight's topic. It's when Michelle Obama was talking, she was talking on the same situation. So you'll see. I don't know if you can share it.
Hold on, let me see. Because I usually don't pull up IG on my computer because I don't get on it on my computer often. But in the meantime, while I'm pulling that up, the question I want to ask you all is, what type of biases do you have? Because if we think about it, all of us have certain biases, right? Stereotypical type biases. And I know they have specific official names for different biases, but based on our experience, based on our exposure, based on what we've seen a lot of, most of us will most likely, hold on a second, did somebody else join? Oh no, okay, that was Stacy. All of us have a bias where we automatically, without saying, and we may know, hey, I may need to give somebody a chance, but usually you're going to go with your first mind based on your historical knowledge. So I'll give an example. And I'm only saying this only because it's always been jokes around some of these stereotypes. So I'm going to bring up a stereotype. And I want all of y'all to answer honestly. Okay? If you have a yard that need to be manicured, you have a lawn, your front yard, your backyard, and you have 3 candidates to do it outside of you doing it yourself. And your candidates are, without talking to them, all you have is a name. All you have is a name. You have Michael, you have Sheila, you have Jose, and you have Don Juan. Who are you calling first to do that lawn? And I'm just being realistic about this. Who you calling first? Go ahead right now. Who you calling
Jose.
first? Okay. Aliyah, who you calling?
You ain't gotta do me like this.
I'm just saying. I just want to be realistic about some things because I'm going somewhere with this.
I hear you. I'm honestly probably gonna call Jose. All right.
Okay. Wanston, Leo, who you calling?
You can answer.
So it's Jose, Daquan, and who else?
Jose, Daquan, Michael, and Sheila. Who you calling?
None of the community trade board. Community trade board.
See, I would have said Michael, but of course, like going off the dome, the safe bet would have been Jose because the way we think, you're automatically thinking that culture works hard,
and that's all I'm trying
for a low rate. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go with Jose.
Well, that wouldn't be my reasoning, but go ahead.
Yeah, like you mean Jose gonna get it done for $2 an hour, okay?
Judge Stacy.
Same as everybody else, Jose, and his brother.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. See, and then look, Famous said Jose too. Okay. Look, Dark Theme said, I'm looking to hire Jose first. I'm sorry. Daquan is last.
What?
And hold on. Yolo said Jose too. And she also said, I have tons. I dislike beggars. I dislike it when we feel that we won't. Oh, okay. She talked about the previous. We don't belong because only other people do it. I don't care if I'm the only Black person. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. I know that's right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Timmy. What you say?
I'm gonna say y'all might as well name his name. Might be Timmy because Jose and all them boys is on that damn bus on that C-17. They dropping off in Mexico. So y'all really start doing them own grasses.
Well, go to your room.
See, well, that. Go ahead.
Go to your room, TJ.
Oh,
no,
yeah, go to your
but
room.
I was saying when Leo was saying about Jose, it's not even so much even the rate. The thing I would say is because understanding how a lot of them come from a place where they don't have much, but they have very good work ethic at the end of the day, and they do it, and they do a great job, and they have good work ethic. That's what I'm looking at. Now, if they happen to charge cheaper, that's great, but I know they have good work ethic. That's the difference that I've noticed in other cultures and other people from what I've seen. That's the reason why it would be my hire, because I know they'll do it fast, and they have good work ethic and get everything done completely. You don't have to call them back.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Does Jose even speak English? I can't hire somebody I can't understand now.
He understands cut money. There you go.
Oh, not cut.
So Liam done came in the house. What's up, Liam? How are you doing? Liam said, I'm hiring the person that is going to do it for the cheapest.
No,
but it can't just be the cheapest, Liam. It got to be the best and the cheapest. So, like I said, who is that out of that list? Because Daquan probably don't even have all the right tools, and he want to charge you a bunch of money because he figured.
Wait a minute, can I say something? It sounds like you're judging that person off their name. You don't know his qualifications.
Well, that was the whole point.
That
was the whole point of this exercise. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Will be, okay.
I'm not gonna say Daquan sound gay. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hold on.
Okay.
He got a little go ahead, girl. Daquan is the Black person. Jose is the.
You can't say that. Daquan could be white.
He is.
Daquan could be white.
No.
Yeah, with a good purse girl who slept with a Black man or something. That's how he got that name. Who knows, girl? I don't know.
Okay, so Daquan is the Black person. Jose is the Latino guy. Do we got an African guy?
Michael is
no,
white.
we do not.
Michael
we do not. I've never seen an African guy.
Well, see, this is why you interview people. You ask them, what's their rate?
You overthinking it, Leo. Leo, we know that's the right thing to do. Yeah. I was just trying to make a point about what comes to your mind instantly, not what you actually do, but what do you think about first? Okay. And based on certain things that are done, you automatically affiliate certain things with certain people. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. I put it to you this way. If somebody said, hey, without even saying a race, right? And I'm not even saying this is every cop of any particular race. If you hear of, hey, man, I was out with my cousin, and this cop came and just threw him down on the floor and just wrestled him down and almost broke his wrist, thinking that he had some drugs. I'm just gonna be honest here. What race you think? What comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Not saying that that's what it is, but what's the first come to your mind?
Caucasian.
Spanish, because they be out there selling that stuff, girl.
No, Lord have mercy. I forgot. That's right. You in the Bronx. I'm sorry. You Latino heavy up there. I'm sorry.
Okay, we in the ghetto.
Caucasian.
I'm sorry. But black, see, black but that also shows
black cousin, white cop.
What happened?
You said somebody said he was with his cousin and the cop just came over and all that. The cousin is black. Automatically for me, until I get the facts, it's gonna be the cousin is black and the cop is white.
Right. And that's only because of what you see more of. Right. And it all depends on where you are, right? Now, Leo said Spanish, because guess what? There might be a lot more of Hispanic cops where he lives. And he may see that attitude from the cops in his area. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think that, people's biases, you have biases and then you have racism. Racism means you're inferior to me. I am superior to you. Biases are what your life experiences have led you to believe. Most of the decisions we make, most of the things that we do, even if we don't act on it, we usually have a mindset. Like, you're not supposed to discriminate against a pregnant woman getting a job, right? But let me ask you this question. If you're short of staff and you're trying to hire folks and you got to get all this stuff done, and she shows up 4 or 5 months pregnant, you know that in 4 months, she going to be going for another 3, right?
Or
So it's like, I got all this stuff to get done. I can't afford to hire her now, because if I hire her now, I'm still going to be short staffed, and I can't, if I hire her and she's gone, I can't hire nobody else in to do the work. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying, whether people say it or not, or react on it, things like that do go through their mind.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're hiring for an executive position, and I'm sorry, I know things are different. Everybody has their fashion. But let me tell you, if a woman comes in with punk rock pink hair and we're working in the healthcare executive suite and not at a fashion, if we had a fashion magazine, a salon, like a marketing, there's certain industries where that's what they want to see, because that's what we're trying to sell. That's what we're trying to get. This is healthcare, your regular corporate company, cookie cutter type thing. You walk up in there with a pink mohawk or 8 earrings down your ears and tattoos on your neck. Is that your first choice? I'm just saying, is that your first choice? Is that the image you want at your table? Now, there's nothing wrong with all of that, but there's usually a place for that. And usually that's just where it is. Doesn't mean you're not good at your job. Doesn't mean none of that. What you do is you get the job, you show them that you can do the job, then you go cut your hair and dye it, and then get your piercings, because it doesn't say anything.
Exactly.
Not even then, depending on where you're at. Not even then.
Yeah.
Well, that is true, because they'll work a way to be like, I'm gonna need you to tone it down or whatever. But guess what? With this DEI stuff, they had been changing the dress code requirements, talk about it's okay to have tattoos, and it's okay to show the tattoos. It's okay to have strange colored hair, is what they call it, meaning unnatural colored hair. So if you get any person in the world, whatever hair grows out their head, they're like, no one's hair is pink, no one's hair is green. They figure it's like red, auburn, blonde, white, platinum, black, brown, or whatever other color it is. But yeah, that's pretty much. But the reason I brought that up is because naturally we all have biases that come to your mind firsthand, only because it's a stereotype, right? So right. But the key is to recognize that bias and don't let that determine how you make decisions. That's the difference. Some people use that bias and that's how they make their decisions. And that's not what it's supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like you're saying, don't have it make your decision. Now, I'll say this because I know I've mentioned this to a lot of people a lot of times. For example, for me, when I go shop a lot of times for my hair products, and y'all constantly hear, support our Black people, support our Black business owners that own beauty shops, beauty stores and things like that. Now, I have went to several different ones, and I went to one trying to support. I go, but when I go, now I tell you, at the end of the day, I'm not looking for nobody to sit there and bring me, coffee and croquettes and all that stuff when I walk in the door. But you hear that ding ding bell when I walk in and stuff. Even if you don't see me, you in the back somewhere. Because even when I go to Sally's Beauty and I go in, a lady be in the back, she go, "Hello, welcome in." They holler. QT, they holler. It's just something that acknowledges the fact that they know that you're in the store or whatever the case may be. When I go, a lot of times, whether the owner's there, whether they have their child there, whoever, somebody's there, they don't even acknowledge you a lot of times. They don't even actually need any help. When you get to the register, they just grab your stuff, ring you up, and then tell you how much it is. They don't even say have a nice day, no anything, no type of greeting or customer service. I'm big on customer service. So regardless of the color, but I'm big on customer service. So there are times that I've walked in Black establishments where I walked in seeing what I want to get. But the fact that I didn't even get a good morning, get after anything, a hello, something. When I walked in your store, I'm walking right out. I'm not giving you my money because first of all, it's empty. So one, I'm the only one in here. You would be thankful I'm finna spend whatever dollars I'm gonna spend in here. So then I turn around and yes, I may go to Mr. Lee store or whatever and get what I want. Now he might be following me and constantly asking me, do I need any help? Because he might think I'm gonna steal something. I don't care, but he greeted. He gave customer service. May I help you? Do you need this? Hey, okay, yes, it's down here on aisle 3. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, deep down inside, he may just be checking me out to make sure I don't steal his stuff. But the point is, he still was professional and he greeted me. He didn't give off that aura that he's going to do that, even though deep down inside, I probably felt like, yeah, you just follow me because you want this. But he gave customer service in his business and I was spending my money there. That's why I look at it when I go out.
Well, let me tell you about Mr. Lee. I love when folks like Mr. Lee do that because you know what I do? I put them to work when they do that.
Oh yeah.
Now the first time you say and you greet me, that's fine. And I say, I'm just looking or I have it and I'm okay. And you still want to come behind me. I got some work for you to do. I'm going to say, you know what? I do need something. Can you come over here and help me pick this out? And matter of fact, where do you have this? And I may know exactly where the stuff is.
Yeah.
But since you want to help me, I'm going to put you to work. You're going to walk me around, but you are exactly right. But in the chat, let me see. Doc Dean said Jose will be on the phone while he's working. That is true. Yellow said, right, Liam, but who you calling first? So then Liam, I guess Liam is asking this question when I said Daquan might not even have the tools, and so how you know he ain't gonna have the right tools? I don't know, Liam. I just said it was like a quick first thing of your mind experiences. Like I said, my experiences, I'm going based on my experiences. That's what biases are. That's why whoever owns the media, social media, the TV, all of that, believe it or not, teaches us. It develops those stereotypes, whether you believe it or not. If you see enough people doing stuff, you begin to think it's a natural thing. Okay, it's a natural, that is just the ones to do. And guaranteed that's just the way it is. And Daquan may be presidential, a presidential elect one day, but the Daquans that I know of ain't going over there. The Daquans I know is, they ain't making it.
Can I tell a funny story?
Go ahead, Stacey.
It's so crazy. And Ronette knows the story. So the guy that's been cutting my yard for the longest time is a black guy. His name is Mr. Brandon. When Mr. Brandon started out, he just had 2 yards in his whole establishment, right? I had this other guy, I think his name was Miguel, Spanish guy, right? Came to the stuff, whatever. And then one day he just stopped coming. I don't know what happened, but my guy has been Mr. Brandon forever. That story about Daquan, my yard was up for about a month because all Brandon tools stopped working. And I stuck with him. He called me. He kept in contact and stuff. The communication was there, so that's why I kept him. But it's so funny you said that because I experienced that black guy, and he was going through some stuff, and he told his truck had broke down one time, and he couldn't get to me, so my yard wasn't done for about 3 weeks, and then he got back on his schedule. He was coming every 2 weeks, and then after that, like his tools, something happened with his tools. Some of my bushes was like overgrown, you know, and I'm trying to support him, you know, because he's a black dude, he's young and trying to do it. He's established now, but that really, really happened. Had it been a Spanish dude, like they'd have been on point, all this stuff together, and come and get it done and out. And thank goodness I stuck with Mr. Brandon because he's doing well now. But it's just so funny that that can happen.
Yeah.
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 I
And
told
it's
him,
not that you can't, it's not that, yeah, it's not that you can't support those people when
yeah,
you know, they just starting out. I'm not saying that, but
no,
like she was saying that the first thing that
it
comes to your
happened.
mind, because I experienced actually having different type of landscape guys. The first guy I had was a white young guy. It was funny because the ongoing joke, the way he looked, Stacy
Fresh out.
Word called him
Fresh out.
She called him fresh out. So because the way he looked, white dude, but he was on time, he was on schedule, he did what he's supposed to do. And there was times when I'm not even home, but he was always on schedule. I come back, my yard is done. He puts my lights back. He moves them when he cut them, put them back. He don't break them. He don't tear them up, anything whatsoever. And when I see that my yard done, I pay him his money, no issues. Just all of a sudden, one time after about a year, I didn't see him. We had 2-3 different black dudes, people that my husband knew and stuff like that. Tried to give them time because they black folks. Turn around, didn't show up for like 2 and 3 months. Kept calling, saying they on the way. Poser did the gutters, didn't do the gutters. Say he forgot about the gutters, but he got another yard. His weed eater messed up. All this type of stuff, but he got all the people so-called working for him. Another guy poster came, but because he got his main job, he was sleeping, tired. He forgot. Didn't see him for like 3-4 months. Next, you know, I'm out there cutting. I said, okay, look, we're not gonna do all this. I'm tired of this. You know, so it was like you trying to give your people a chance, but every time I did, it was always a big issue. It was always some reason or some excuse, the reason why my yard didn't get done. But when Fresh Out was here, I didn't have no issue.
You said when Fresh Out, that's his name, Fresh Out?
She called him Fresh Out now because when you see him,
I'm not messing with you.
Yeah, she would just say that because as if he looked like he just fresh out of, you know.
Okay. Well,
but he took care of the yard.
Well,
problem.
you know,
And the black guys,
again,
they also broke my lights.
Oh,
they don't move them.
They didn't move them. They was breaking them. They was hitting it with the weed eater and breaking them.
Oh, well, see, sometimes, you know, with DEI, you know, gives people opportunities and exposure where before they open up businesses, they learn that the business is more than just providing a skill set. It's about running a business. And if you don't have the mindset to run a business, then these things happen and you don't have the ability or the capital or the resources or the connections to be able to fill in those gaps when the equipment goes down, the truck doesn't work. You still have clients that you have. So what are you going to do with your clients when your equipment breaks? You got to have a backup. If you got to outsource it to somebody and say, hey, Miss Stacy, I won't be able to be there to cut your grass today. However, I have a backup. This is the person's name. They'll be there at such and such time or whatever. That is how you handle business. And the problem is it's a hustle. It's a difference between running a business and having a hustle. A hustle is I'm just doing this because I know I can do it and I can get me some money. But you're not thinking about this person is needing this service on a continuous basis. What are you going to do when you're unable to provide those services? Are you just going to say, oh, can you just wait on me? I'm sorry. I won't be able to be there today. But my stuff get fixed in 3 weeks. Can you just hold off? Like, don't get anybody. No. And your customers shouldn't have to have their own backup to call someone else, because if they're trusting you to come and you know you can't come, then you need to let your client know in advance and let your client determine whether they want to wait for you or not, or go to their backup, or you should have a backup in a service for them to come and service. That's that's all we saying there. Dark Thing said Daquan is coming late and he'll be on the phone complaining. Yolo said, do you know how many resumes go in the trash because of their names? Facts. They do. Liam says Michael could be on the phone and don't have to cut grass and charge more, and don't have the skills to cut the grass and charge more. That is correct. That is correct. So we said don't have, and that is facts. That is extremely facts. Ruda and he said, famous said, when I would read resumes and their email was unprofessional, example, Daquan 420 all day. I'm laughing at that because I hire people, and I've hired people, and I'll never forget an email that came across, and I'm not going to give you the real email address just in case they happen to be watching at one time, but it said something along the lines of dark chocolate sassy something, and I'm like, this is the email address you're using to get a job. Like, you couldn't create, I mean, Gmail, you can create 11 million Gmail emails. You gonna send something that say dark chocolate? Really? Like, so no. Yeah, it goes in the trash. DEI protects those rights. That is true. Discrimination laws should protect all of these. How do we make these laws stronger? That is true. How do you make them stronger? The only way to make them stronger is to have a way of enforcing them and observing them. But guess what? You can't, that's the thing. You just like racism, unless you record somebody, or whether it's audio or video, you'll never know how people are thinking and why people do or don't do certain things, right? They'll say, well, you're not supposed to discriminate a pregnant woman. Okay, so the only way for you not to do that, a person not to do that, is for them not to see that she's pregnant, right? The only way for you to really evaluate somebody and not allow somebody's name to put their to make their resume go in the trash is don't put the name up there. Just say candidate 1, right? Or I didn't hire this person because of the color of their skin. I didn't like the way they look. I didn't like their hair. I didn't like the fact that their teeth was jacked up, or whatever the case is. Well, then guess what? Then you do a blind interview. It'll just be, yes, you probably still have to talk to the individual, but you can't discuss. Then people will say, well, I can tell by the way you talk that you're a black woman, or that you're white, or whatever. And I'm sorry, that has nothing to do. Race has nothing to do with how you speak. It's all about what you've been exposed to and how long what type of English training you've had. Okay, language training you've had in your life, how people around you have spoken, and how people around you have either helped you correct your speech or not. So the only way to, not really have biases or racism is you'll be interviewing robots, like a robot form of the candidate. You'll get a piece of paper to say what their experience is with no name, no dates, like no actual dates or years. Just, you may say a number of years, because a lot of people use people age as discrimination too. So if you say that you got your college, you graduated from high school 50 years ago, and this is a physical job, then they're going to say, oh, you kind of old, ain't you? So I don't need you come up in here, next thing you know, your back hurt and you need to go out on FMLA, or you got to go get knee surgery or shoulder surgery or your elbow, and you're going to cost me money with the benefits, So the only way to do that, Liam, is you literally have to erase the possibility of anybody even knowing who's on the other end. This is from a hiring perspective. I'm only speaking about hiring perspective. But you cannot change the mindset of an individual. until they're put in that situation. They have to be put in a situation to where it makes them realize that this is not how I would want to be treated. Okay, so that unless any of you have any ideas on how to actually how to make these laws stronger.
My
Well,
thoughts
before
would
you
be
even say that we ain't got to worry about making no laws stronger because they're doing away with the laws. Next question.
What are you talking? Go ahead, Ronette.
That's a waste question. They ain't
Well,
making the law, they
we having a discussion. It don't matter.
my thoughts are illegal, so.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. She about to whip the knife out.
Exactly. We ain't got to worry about making these laws stronger. Them laws, that's done. This is 2025. Them laws went in the trash last week. So what we need to be talking about is how we going to cope or get the dope. That's all the things you can do, baby, at this point.
I saw an episode of 2020 years ago, and the resumes that had ethnic names were discarded. It's unfortunate, but it is a reality. What about the stores? They follow you around. Oh, we talked about that. And we didn't even discuss why Sheila isn't cutting the yard. We did say Sheila's name was up there. Well,
but nobody talked about
I guess
her.
Sheila, like we just totally forgot about Sheila, right? That's a bias right there.
Yep.
I'm not hiring.
When you think of,
I'm not hiring.
I'm a woman. I cut grass good.
I'm not hiring. I'm not hiring Ronette. I'm not hiring Ronette over one. One will get it done. Who knows?
She didn't get hired because she's not qualified. her resume wasn't good enough.
Guess what though? I work with Jose. Guess what? So I'm gonna be there.
Well, you're right.
But Liam, you're right, Liam. Like we didn't even think about Sheila. We talked about Michael. We talked about Jose. We talked about Daquan. Nobody said nothing about Sheila. It was almost like, think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
Real hard manual labor.
Right.
You don't think to get a woman in that role, unless they are of the LGBTQA1 community, and those are the ones that want to be men and they look like men and they act like men. You cut my yard. Because you're not trying to be a Miss Prissy. You ain't worried about your nails. You're not worried about none of that. You trying to be the man. So go on out there and do your thing, whatever you want to do. But I say Sheila. So
I'm not. I'm not. If I want my yard,
you're not hiring a woman to cut your yard.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not going out there.
Oh no, I'm not either.
Yeah,
okay. I ain't doing it. I didn't want the yard I had any daggone way. He got to cut it.
I wanted to.
But what if Sheila and one of the other people are related? They're brother and sister, and they have their own business, and they're in the cut and graft business.
Okay, who? Like who's her sibling? Who's her partner?
Michael could be her partner.
Oh, one sister.
I don't know.
One sister.
We talking about biases here. We're not talking about in the real world. Of course, you evaluate people, you assess them, and so forth, and you hire accordingly. But yeah.
I wanted to say, can I say something, Miss Sonia? If it's okay at this point to go back to the two ladies that you showed that clip, Miss
yes,
was April and Claudia. That's
yes.
Name. I wanted to say. There's an echo again. I wanted to say an example of how her faith-based thinking doesn't really work. The changes with affirmative action.
Mm.
The Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, right? But when you study and look at the percentages of minorities that went to Ivy League colleges, it was like about less than 10% of Hispanic students that went to Ivy League colleges compared to white students.
Right.
And Asian students were included in that number.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was these minority students that were picked to go to the Ivy League colleges came from franchise neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods and stuff, and they had to work 10, 15, 20% times higher than the other students to even make it to where they were. And they had resources that were so much less than the other white students that they were competing against. Because a lot of these students that are white that go to these schools, right? They have tutors. They've already been set up since they were 5 years old to get to these Ivy League colleges. And there's money set aside just for their education, right? So these disenfranchised kids and these poor kids that made it to Harvard or made it to Princeton and Yale and stuff like that, they had nothing. And they worked really, really hard to get in there. And because of affirmative action, they were able to get into these colleges, right? Now they struck that down. The numbers have dropped, even though they are as smart as these other kids. And even though they're competing against kids who are legacy students who are getting in there because their parents' names are on libraries. So that's why her theory of, you just have to have faith and God will take care of everything. So it doesn't matter if you're black or you're brown or you're yellow, you should have the same amount of opportunities that they do. And that's just one.
Well, at the end of the day,
Well,
at the end of the day, they know that we do not. We do not have the same opportunities because those schools, like Harvard, is not going to look at the best student at Shiloh High School in Snellville, Georgia.
Not anymore.
They're not seeking those. They're not seeking that. There are certain high schools that feed into certain universities, meaning there are certain key high schools that these universities automatically go to because they usually breed of the same type of students that are already going to Harvard. So yeah, Gwinnett County may have some good schools, but you're more likely to get more students that live closer to Johns Creek.
Correct.
That's going to Harvard.
Correct.
Living in Brookwood over here in the Lawrenceville area. Brookwood is the one solid school there, or they have to come out of the science, math, engineering, GMST. I forgot the which way the acronyms spell for that school, but there's just certain schools that they look to. They're not going to look to these other little rinky-dink schools. And not saying that there's not a good child there. It's just that if that real smart child is going to that type of school, they automatically equate that, well, that's a low-tiered school. So even if that child is an A student, they're not really an A student because they've only an A student competing with low-tiered students. They're not an A student competing with the higher tier students. You see what I mean? So
you're exactly right. That's what affirmative action did. It required them to take from a pool of those kids who didn't have, the means and weren't bred to go to a Harvard or a Yale. And I think it's the same thing that's going to happen with DEI. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but at least, there were certain programs in place that required them to have some diversity and some equity, some inclusion. And now that's going away. They don't have to.
Right.
That's what the problem's going to be.
Yeah. Good night, Dark Theme. Dark Theme said, thank you for the conversation. To all of you all on the panel.
Good night,
and us
Dark
for an
Theme.
amazing dialogue tonight. Liam, Sheila was forgotten about, unfortunately. Good night, Dark Theme. Local state representatives and judges. Yup. To make them stronger, you have to vote every year and not just every 4 years. Facts. So what Yolo just said and what Famous just said is exactly what we talked about earlier. You got to vote at the right election. Those are the people that are making the difference. Not the president election.
Which you vote for every 4 years.
Exactly. It's those people that are taking those laws up because that's where they have to cut it. They have to cut it there. My work ethic of some of these young people who want something for nothing pisses me off. Learn it, earn it. I agree, YOLO. I totally agree. Be damn professional. Exactly. Some people are just not, have pride in the job well done, integrity. I like the idea of a robot or just paper questions and no identity. I agree with that, Liam. That is really the only way to eliminate any type of bias, whether it's racism or bias, from the hiring phase. That's the only way to do it. The
But what
only way to
happens?
do it.
I have a question, Tanya. What happens when they get hired and they're on the job? They have a probationary period. So there's
Yeah.
there's no face to face in the hiring process. But they show up, they have pink hair, they have the tattoo up the neck. They've got the probationary period for the boss decides to cut them.
Right. There's a probationary period, but at least you get an opportunity to
Get the best
show
foot.
them I have what it takes. It's not going to eliminate someone trying to set you up to get you fired or get you moved. Like I said, people, whoever wants to do those things and they're in power, they're going to use their power for whether it's for good or for bad. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People will find a way around it.
Thanks.
We just drink until 2029. That's what Leo said with the way things are going now. But unfortunately, it's going to take twice that long in order to reverse anything if anybody else gets in there and try to reverse it. And that's the key. Most of the time, presidents cannot make a difference until after their first term is over, because the first term is about reversing anything that was not good from the previous administration. So they don't even get a chance to execute and implement what their ideas are unless they get elected for a second term. So I'm just saying, I didn't think about Sheila because as long as Bob living here, I don't cut grass. Okay, YOLO. Sheila may have the great references and experiences. That is true. That is true. And she may be the cheapest. You're right, because she may say she's already competing against her male counterparts. The cheapest is my hubby, Liam. Yo, I bet your hubby is more expensive than you think. Touche. Liam says, should it make a difference if these universities are public or private? The private universities can do what they want. They're not functioning off of any. All they have to do is abide by the educational rule in terms of what equates to a level of education. Think of a private school as like a charter school. Whoever's paying the money to keep the doors open, that's who's making the decisions on what should happen and what shouldn't happen at that school. Period, point blank. That's just what it is. Public schools, governmentally funded, most of them, and then of course they have donations, and then you have your legacy alumni raising money and all of that type of stuff. And the type of university you are will determine how much money is coming in. So whatever's your money maker, whether it's your sports teams, whether it's your curriculums, or the parents of the type of geographic makeup of your school, that determines how much money is coming into your school. The mentality that if you work hard and do good and praise God, you will be rewarded is very naive. Exactly. Faith without works is dead, honey. Faith without works is dead. Liam said, I voted every time there is an election, and since I live where I live, the other person gets in still, but I get voting every time. Well, Liam, you get a lot of people that feel like if they vote and the person that they want is not in there, they'll be the first ones to say, I'm not wasting my time voting. I'm not voting. If my vote doesn't matter, it doesn't count. It does count, but they don't think so. But anyway, does anybody else have any remarks before we get off? Because we're at the 2-hour mark. All right.
Speak now, forever hold your peace. Because Pretty Timmy rose from the bed, not from the dead. But guess what? That bed is telling me something. The bed is calling me. It's saying, come back, Timmy, to me.
Well, I'm about to get into bed because I've been on the computer literally all day since what, 9:30 this morning? 9:30 this morning until 15 minutes before this live went live. So
I'm getting weak.
well,
I'm
you talk
going
about the
down.
bed, you talk about the bed is
No.
calling. I'm about to give that pillow some head and that bed some ass right now.
I'm going
That's what I'm
down.
about to
I'm going down. I'm going down.
Anyway,
I'm going down.
thanks to everybody in the
I've been up
chat.
since 6.
Thank
I'm
you all
tired.
for being here.
Thank you, Liam, for the birthday.
Liam said happy belated birthday.
Thank you,
Timmy.
Liam.
Go ahead. What you say, Ronette?
No, I said I've been up since 6. We've been out in the park with the dogs and playing, and in this beautiful weather, running around, and I'm do dealing.
Well, that sound like it was a choice. That
What
don't
was the
count
choice?
if it's
No,
a choice.
I said I
That
worked,
part.
and then I went. It is a choice, but then it's not a choice. I got to take my dog outside. I'm just
Okay.
saying I'm
I'll see you
tired.
Friday,
I didn't say it was a like a bad thing. I'm just saying how tired I was.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Well, y'all have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
And see you on the next DND. Now, if y'all happen to come up with any discussion ideas, I'm always open to them. I just try to I try to think of discussions that's gonna actually have a dialogue. Because sometimes it's things that is in the news now, and I try not to get too political with things because folks get canceled off of that. And, with the little Tesla man and the wife sitting in the White House with our president, he might be looking at my YouTube and gonna cut me off. Ain't no telling. So I just try to keep this stuff to a minimum. I ain't trying to let nobody dip into my little bit of money that come in from this. All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a good evening. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming to DND. Those of you who's watching, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Go ahead and share out to everyone else. And we will catch y'all next month.
Hey.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
For the real ones. Have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real ones. For the real ones. For the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real one. For the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. For the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Yeah. Have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. For the real ones. For the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Have a toast for the real. Have a toast for the real.